Good morning. Ann Burns here at Homestead Farm Center with another edition of Science at Home. And today we're going to be talking about submarines and how they work. Last week we talked about Archimedes' principle, how the buoyant force on a floating object was affected by whether it was floating in salt water or fresh water. And submarines also use the principles of buoyant force to allow them to rise and sink in the ocean. A submarine has a chamber inside of it that allows it to be filled with either water or air. As the chamber fills with water, the submarine is heavier and so it sinks down in the ocean. But that water can be pumped out of the chamber, allowing it to fill with air and rise back up to the surface. This principle involves a little scientific device called a Cartesian Diver, and we're going to be making a Cartesian Diver today. For my Cartesian Diver, I have a little glass bottle, and later on I'm going to show you how to make one yourselves with a straw. But this is a little bit easier to see when it goes into the bottle. So in order for this to float, I'm going to need to have a little air bubble right up here at the top of the bottle. So I'm going to put it in the water upside down and trap a little air in it. So I'm going to take a container full of water. I'm going to put my bottle down into the water, trapping an air bubble. Now I want to allow enough air out of the bottle. I'm just going to tilt it to the side so that it just barely floats. Now if you can see, it has sank all the way to the bottom, so I've let out too much air. So I'm going to try again. So this time I'm just going to let out just a tiny bubble. And I want to be able to push it down very easily in my container of water. Maybe one more bubble. That's about right. Now I'm going to take my pinky finger and I'm going to put it under the water and trap that bubble in my container. So now I have a little bit of water in there and I have the bubble trapped. Then I have a completely filled plastic bottle and I'm going to put my bottle down into the water. So now it is floating right at the top of my bottle. Now when I squeeze the bottle, you should be able to see my Cartesian Diver go down. When I release the bottle, it floats back up to the top. Squeeze, it sinks down, release, and it floats back up. Now the reason it does that is as I squeeze, it increases the water pressure, and that water pressure pushes against that bubble of air inside the bottle, compressing it and allowing a little bit more water into my bottle, therefore making it heavier. When I release the pressure, the air is able to expand a little bit and push the water back out of the bottle, and it's able to have enough buoyant force that it floats back up to the top. And this is the principle that allows a submarine to sink down in the ocean and then rise back up to the top whenever the operator wishes it to. To make it a little bit more fun, I've taken a little piece of plastic baggie, this is from a bread bag, and I've cut some little tentacles on either end with a scissor. I'm going to take my glass bottle and I'm going to use a rubber band to secure that over the bottle. So we will make kind of a little sea creature with the baggie and the rubber band. Once again, I have to capture just the right air bubble inside my bottle. I want enough air so that it's fairly easy to get it to sink with my finger, but not so much that it floats to the bottom. Show you that process. So I put it, it's full of air, I put it down into the water, capture the air bubble. I'm going to let a little bit of air out at a time. Just a small bubble each time. So now it's floating. You can just try it with your finger and see how easy it is to get it to sink down. You want it to sink down pretty easily, but then you want it to return to the top. It's pretty good. I could let out one more little bubble. Okay, that's perfect right there. Then I capture it with my pinky finger, holding my water and my air bubble in there. I transfer it to my large bottle, and I push the whole thing down in there. So now you can see our little squid is inside the bottle. Put something dark in the back so you can see it a little bit better. And as you squeeze, the squid goes down to the bottom of the ocean and then returns to the top. And you can play around with this and get just the right size air bubble so that it really pops up and down very easily in the water. Okay, and again, the thing that makes this work is compressing that air bubble inside the bottle, allowing a little bit more water inside the bottle causes it to sink, and then when I release it, the air bubble is able to expand and brings the bottle back up to the surface. Now, it's unlikely that you probably have a little bottle this size at your house, so I'm going to show you next how to make one yourself with a paper straw. So here's how you can make your own Cartesian diver at home. I've taken a little piece of plastic drinking straw and I've cut it to about 2.5–3 inches. Then I'm going to bend that over to make a little triangle, and this is where my air bubble is going to be in my Cartesian diver. I'm going to take a paper clip and holding it so that the ends are pointed up, I'm going to slide both of those ends into the straw. One end on the right side of the straw, and then the other end on the left side of the straw, so that the paper clip is kind of holding the straw together there. Now if I place that in my water, you can see it just floats right on the top, so I need to add a little bit more weight to make my Cartesian diver work. So I'm going to add now a big paper clip. And now when I place it in my bottle, It looks like it's riding a little too high, so I'm going to add one more small paper clip. This is where you have to just adjust your weight little by little. Let's give that a try. Put the lid on, and then when I squeeze, it will compress the air and my diver sinks. It's actually, you probably can't see it on the video, but you can actually see the air bubble being compressed inside the straw when you make this type of Cartesian diver. So try that at home. Again, talking about the buoyant force, Archimedes' principle, and how submarines work, the Cartesian diver. Hope you'll join us next week when we'll be talking about crystals and crystal formation. Have a good week.